Your dog follows you from room to room, gets excited when you come home, sleeps near you whenever it can, and sometimes, when you look into your dog's eyes, it almost feels like they're saying, "I love you." But do they? Do dogs actually love their owners the way humans love each other? Or is that just something we want to believe? After all, your dog depends on you for food, shelter, comfort, and safety. Some people argue that what looks like love is really just dependence. Others are convinced that the bond between dogs and humans is something much deeper. So who's right? Today, we're going to explore what science, animal behavior experts, and decades of research have discovered about one of the most emotional questions dog owners have ever asked. And by the end of this video, you may see your relationship with your dog in a completely different way. In fact, one scientific discovery we'll discuss later has led some researchers to compare the bond between dogs and humans to the bond between parents and children. If you love learning about how dogs think, feel, and connect with the people around them, be sure to subscribe and join our community. Now let's find out whether the love we feel from our dogs is real or something even more remarkable. For a long time, many scientists were hesitant to describe a dog's feelings as love. Their argument seemed simple. Dogs rely on humans for almost everything. We provide food, we provide shelter, we provide protection. So when a dog follows its owner everywhere, greets them excitedly, or wants to stay close, is that really love, or is it simply dependence? After all, if someone else fed your dog every day, would your dog eventually become attached to that person instead? It's a question that has sparked debate among researchers, animal behavior experts, and dog owners for decades. And honestly, it's not an unreasonable question. Many animal relationships are built around survival. In nature, forming attachments often has practical benefits. But here's something worth thinking about. If you believe your dog loves you for more than food, comment 1 below. Because when scientists started looking more closely at the relationship between dogs and humans, they discovered something that didn't fit the old explanation. Something that suggested dogs might be experiencing a bond far deeper than simple dependence. And the evidence came from an unexpected place, not behavior, not training, and not food, but from what happens inside the brain itself. Everything began to change when researchers started looking inside the brain. What they discovered surprised even some scientists. The key was a hormone called oxytocin. You may have heard it called the love hormone or the bonding hormone. It's associated with feelings of trust, affection, and emotional connection. In humans, oxytocin plays an important role in the bond between parents and children, close friends, and romantic partners. But here's where things get interesting. Researchers found that when dogs and their owners share gentle eye contact, oxytocin levels rise in both the dog and the human. In other words, something emotional is happening on both sides of the relationship. The dog affects the human affects the dog. It's a biological feedback loop that strengthens connection. Think about that for a moment. A simple glance between you and your dog can trigger the same hormone linked to some of the strongest social bonds humans experience. That doesn't necessarily prove dogs love us exactly the way humans love each other, but it does suggest that the bond is far more complex than food, habit, or dependence alone. And perhaps the most fascinating part is this. When given a choice, many dogs continue choosing their people even when food isn't involved at all. If dogs were only interested in food, their behavior would be fairly predictable. They would simply spend their time searching for the next meal. But that's not what many dogs do. In study after study, researchers have observed something surprising. When given certain choices, many dogs show a strong preference for being near their owners even when food isn't the main reward. Think about your own dog. When they're frightened by a thunderstorm, who do they look for? When they're in a new place, who helps them feel safe? And when they have the freedom to rest anywhere in the house, why do so many choose to lie close to the people they love? If your dog follows you from room to room, comment 3 below. Because that behavior may be telling us something important. Dogs don't just seek resources, they often seek reassurance, familiarity, and connection. For many dogs, the presence of their owner provides comfort in a way that food alone never could, and perhaps that's why so many dogs choose to stay close, even when there's nothing obvious to gain. But if choosing to be near us is one sign of affection, what does love actually look like from a dog's perspective? Because it may be very different from the way humans usually imagine it. One of the biggest mistakes we make is assuming that love must look the same in every species. Humans express love through words. We say, I miss you. I care about you. I love you. Dogs can't do that. So if we're looking for human-style expressions of love, we'll like them. Instead, we have to look at the world through a dog's eyes. For a dog, love may look like following you into another room, even when they were perfectly comfortable where they were. It may look like waiting by the door when you're gone. It may look like checking on you throughout the day, simply to make sure you're still there. To us, the behaviors can seem small. To a dog, they may mean everything. Because in the canine world, staying close to someone is often a sign of trust, attachment, and emotional connection. Love doesn't have to be spoken to be real, and it doesn't have to look human to be meaningful. The more scientists learn about dogs, the clearer it becomes that their emotional lives are far richer than we once believed. But if there is one behavior that may reveal the depth of a dog's feelings more than any other, it's not excitement, it's trust. If there is one thing that may come closest to proving how much your dog cares about you, it isn't excitement, it's trust. Trust is one of the most valuable things a dog can give. In the wild, trusting the wrong individual could be dangerous. Survival often depends on knowing who is safe and who isn't. That's why trust isn't given lightly. Think about what happens when your dog falls asleep beside you. At that moment, they're vulnerable. They're letting their guard down completely. Or consider the times your dog rolls onto their back and exposes their belly. For many dogs, that's one of the clearest signs of comfort and security. They're telling you, in their own way, I feel safe with you. And perhaps that's more meaningful than any tail wag or excited greeting. Because true trust is built over time. It's earned through consistency, protection, and care. In a dog's world, feeling safe and feeling connected are often deeply intertwined. That's why so many dogs choose to stay close to the people they trust most. And when you look at it that way, the question becomes even more interesting. If a dog trusts you completely, misses you when you're gone, and feels safest when you're near, what else would you call that? Of course, dogs don't speak our language. They don't write letters. They don't say the words, I love you. But imagine, just for a moment, that they could tell us how they feel. Maybe it would sound something like this. When I'm scared, I look for you. When something makes me nervous, I feel better when you're near. When you leave, I notice. When you come home, my day gets better. I trust you to keep me safe. I trust you to take care of me. And even when there are other places I could be, I often choose to be beside you. None of those things require words, yet together they tell a powerful story. Because love isn't just something we say. Sometimes it's something we show. Through loyalty, through trust, through the simple desire to stay close to someone who matters. Maybe dogs don't experience love exactly the way humans do. Maybe their version is different. But perhaps that's what makes it so special. It's uncomplicated, it's honest, and it's given freely. Which brings us back to the question we started with. Do dogs really love their owners? Or have we been asking the wrong question all along? So, do dogs really love their owners the way humans love each other? After everything we've explored, perhaps the answer is both yes and no. No, dogs don't experience the world exactly as we do. They don't write love letters. They don't talk about their feelings. And they probably don't think about love in the same way humans do. But maybe that's not what matters. Because when a living being trusts you completely, looks for you when you're gone, feels safer when you're near, and finds joy simply in your presence, those feelings deserve to be taken seriously. Maybe love doesn't have to be identical to be real. Maybe a dog's love is simply expressed in a different language, a language of loyalty, a language of trust, a language of quiet companionship that asks for very little in return. And perhaps that's why the bond between dogs and humans has lasted for thousands of years. Before we go, we'd love to hear from you. What is one thing your dog does that makes you feel loved? Share your story in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and join us for more fascinating insights into the emotional and psychological world of dogs. Because the more we understand them, the more we realize just how extraordinary they truly are.